Hi guys, welcome to my video today. Hope you're all feeling fabulous. Today I'm going to be talking about which is the best treatment for GAD, so generalised anxiety disorder, if people don't know what that means. Which is the best treatment for GAD out of CBT, cognitive behavioural therapy, or Kundalini yoga. Okay, so if you've suffered with generalised anxiety disorder before, I have in the past, very much so, you probably have been into or have heard of cognitive behavioural therapy. Now this is like a psychosocial intervention whereby we're challenging and changing sort of cognitive distortions basically. So challenging and changing behaviours, distortions and unhelpful sort of patterns, that we've got going on in there. So this is CBT. We're working with tools and methods and different techniques to enable us to understand things from a different process. So it's more cognitive. We're working in the brain to understand things a little bit more. Kundalini yoga, on the other hand, we're working a little bit more into the body, into the energy body, into the physical body, back into the heart space. Okay, so one thing's a little bit more cognitive and the other thing's a little bit more experience of oneself in the body, energetically, physically, spiritually. Okay, so the two sort of different things here. But what is Kundalini yoga, first of all? So you probably know CBT, this cognitive behavioural therapy, helping to change unwanted thought patterns and sort of regaining power and a little bit more logic in the way in which we're behaving and understanding our behaviours. Whereas Kundalini yoga is, I would say, a really nice 50-50 mix between a spiritual and very physical practice. Okay, so we're working specifically with the sort of central nervous system, which runs from the base of the spine all the way up into the crown of the head. Like we do in most yoga, working with the central nervous system. So all these little nerves coming off the spinal cord, which feed the tissues and stuff like this, and help to connect that mind and body connection. We're trying to get connected to this nervous system, okay? A lot of experiences that we're having on the planet, in life in general, are stored up in the nervous system, and we keep them there and in the centre of the body, in the spine physically, in the nervous system, in the Sushumna Nadi, the central energy channel of the body. Lots of stuff gets stored there, mental, physical, spiritual, energetic, emotional blocks, whatever we want to call them. Okay, and we're sort of releasing this stuff, sometimes quite vigorously, into the core. We work with a lot of meditation, we work with a lot of breath work, okay? And these things start to shift things physically, okay? So we're taking ourselves a little bit away from the head and we're coming back into the heart space. And this is always a really good place to come back to if you are somebody who suffers from anxiety, okay? Anxiety sufferers are very much in the head. And what we want to do is we want to come back into the body a little bit more and come back into the heart space, okay? Get all of that stuff that's going on in the head and come back into the body, continuously keep coming back into our heart space, unconditional love towards ourselves and others. So, having said that, which is best for generalised anxiety disorder? Cognitive behavioural therapy or Kundalini yoga, which is a little bit more of a holistic experience of therapy for your anxiety disorders? Okay, and my simple answer to this is everybody's answers are different, okay? We're not all sheep. Thank God. So everybody's answer is going to be different. But for me, I personally, after having anxiety for a good 10 years, that was quite crippling for me. I've now got control over it. I find a 50-50 mix between both is really, really important for me, okay? So it's almost like CBT, cognitive behavioural therapy, enriched with Kundalini yoga is a really, really transformational And I really mean life-changing transformational process that you can do to help with generalised anxiety disorder. Okay? And because we're covering all areas, we are covering the areas of removing from the body and coming back to our body, taking this sensory experience of life through the nervous system, through our muscles, through muscle memory, through our skeletal system, through our tissues and organs, and the way in which our whole body's working, from the respiratory system to our circulation. Yeah, all of this stuff is all interlaced and interconnected, as well as the mind and the body. So cognitive behavioural therapy works fantastic with Kundalini yoga because it's all that rewiring of the brain and that rewiring of the nervous system. Okay, and it's that continuous awareness towards mindfulness every day, and how we can come back to understanding ourselves a little bit more from a cognitive point of view, and understanding ourselves a little bit more from a physical and energetic point of view. Okay, so using all of these tools is very, very holistic and very healing. So I teach, as well as my own personal practice of Kundalini yoga, is a big mixture between quite a traditional Kundalini practice alongside a cognitive behavioural practice. And how I sort of work these is I do my Kundalini practice where I'm starting to move the body and to sort of stop the fluctuations of the mind. So I'm coming back into the body, back into the heart space, coming back into more of a meditative state, back to the breath, that simple prana, that simple life force, which is a very calming state to be in. So I'm starting to bring myself into the parasympathetic part of the nervous system, okay, which is what yoga is doing. It's bringing us back into the parasympathetic nervous system, which is our rest and our digest part of the nervous system. Okay, so this is where I come to a little bit more of a subconscious area of myself, and just allow that brain to have a little bit of a rest. And then alongside this, I take that stillness that I've learned on the mat, or in a mantra, or in a breath technique during Kundalini yoga, and I bring it into my daily life, and I add little bits of CBT throughout the day, cognitive behavioural therapy. Okay, so I take the calmness, so I'm feeling more clear in my head, and then during the day I might add a couple of little tools, okay, of CBT. And both of those things together, that cognitive approach as well as that physical and energetic approach to therapy, is a massively holistic healing tool. So what I'm trying to say here is sort of the attitude towards how you're treating yourself and how you are overcoming these sort of mental disturbances, let's call them, such as GAD, generalised anxiety disorder, is all about having an open mind. It's not about so-and-so's treatment is better than so-and-so's treatment, because, you know, in the end, you will only heal if you believe that you're going to heal, because part of that self-belief is a part of the healing process. So if you don't believe something's going to heal you, then it won't. So it's very much about coming into all of these holistic practices and cognitive practices with an open mind. Okay, the first thing we want to develop is an open mind. Now this is where Kundalini yoga is fabulous, because Kundalini yoga, it can be quite unusual at first. We're doing some really odd sort of movements. Part of the practice is sort of eradicating the ego, or just, you know, calming the ego down a little bit. And I think one of the reasons that Kundalini yoga does this so well is because we're doing some unusual things. We're making sounds, we're doing odd noises, and we're doing odd sort of movements and stuff like that. And that in itself, you can't have your ego involved when you're doing it, okay? And the more and more you practice it, the more and more the ego tends to think, oh, I'm bored of getting all self-conscious here. I'm just going to go with the flow. So this is why the practice of Kundalini Yoga is fabulous for developing this sort of open mind, letting go of the ego, and being much more accepting and surrendering towards how you are healing. Instead of forcing these blocks, I don't believe in that, I don't believe in that, I don't believe in that, and I don't believe in that. This is the highest form of ignorance, surely. Experience and moving forward and healing ourselves from things that we don't want, the things that don't serve us, like generalised anxiety disorder. Doesn't serve us. Certainly didn't serve me. So this is where we're working with. Kundalini Yoga helps to open the mind, remove this egotism towards ourselves, and allows us to experience and believe in the practices that we're working with a lot more. Okay, and so then you can pick and choose what tools you want to work with, what tools you think are your tools for healing. And for me, the answer to this whole question of CBT or Kundalini Yoga for helping anxiety disorder, a mix of both, is absolutely fabulous. It's worked wonders for me, and I am with no doubt it would work wonders for you. If you give it a little try, it's all about consistency and giving things a go and coming at it with an approach of self-belief, really. Okay, so that's that. Anybody want to know anything more about the practices of cognitive behavioural therapy and mindfulness and Kundalini Yoga, then get in touch. I'm always here to chat, and I can give you a lot more information on that. Okay? Bye. Have a lovely day.